Hey everybody, I've got another quick video for you here. I'm just going to do an initial burn-in and setup and review of a Amazon budget wood stove that I purchased here recently. The name is Tounto, I believe. I probably am not pronouncing that correctly, but I'll put links in the description below. This is a pretty heavy gauge stainless steel stove, and as you can see, it does not have a rollout pipe. It has the sections of stainless steel pipe. And I bought this stove for specific reasons, that being one of them. The first reason was the heavy gauge stainless steel will hold the heat a good bit better than the thin ultralight titanium stuff. And the legs fold out, and with the sectioned pipe and the fold out legs, the stove is super easy and a quick setup. It came with all the necessary components and it was only about $109. I realized that it's quite cheap, but it was pretty heavy duty and the build quality was actually somewhat impressive to begin with. One of the reasons why I picked this stove was because you can see it's a folded single sheet of metal, the main box is, that is, and is welded. And I liked that because it did not have any spots where smoke would leak out into the tent. The stove is about 15 inches long and about 7 to 8 inches tall. So I knew what I was getting into with the size and weight. It's about 14 pounds, but it's pretty cheap. And I did buy this specifically for car and truck camping as well as canoe camping. And like I said, the added mass, the idea was I would save some money and it would help retain some heat, make cooking a little bit easier, and I wanted the smoke to stay put, especially when camping with my daughter. Now it's time to get a fire going and get this stove hot and get it burned in. I found it very easy to start the stove. It pulled really well. The airflow was, pretty fantastic. It worked really well. I was surprised. There weren't any drafts or leaks or anything like that. The damper worked well, and the airflow adjustment in the front was pretty spot on, and you could get a fire going easily and control the consumption. The one thing that I did find with this stove off the bat that wasn't all that great was right here, the latch to shut the door. It has a hard time closing, and that was really due to the bolt that holds the little tab on. The nut on the other side contacts the frame of the stove, but if you flipped it around, you could pretty easily correct that problem. The second issue I found was on the exhaust pipe. The pipe from the different temperatures sort of creased, and you'll see that here in a second, and I was not actually able to separate the pipes, which is a problem. Like I said, airflow was great, and with the ability to fit like a 14-inch or 15-inch piece of wood in the stove, you can really generate some heat with this thick stainless steel. So I spared no expense and tossed in some hardwood. And here you can see me fumbling with the latch again. Like I said, if you turn this hardware around, it would probably work a whole lot better. And as far as I'm concerned, with the price of the stove, it's an easy fix and still, for the most part, worth it. One of the other things that I liked about this stove was that the chimney cap was closed on the top and the smoke vented from the sides, basically acting as a spark arrestor for you. For a cheap stove, it really pulled heat well and evenly. There weren't any drafts or any places where smoke was leaking out. And even when I closed the damper a bit and the airflow was restricted, it still didn't really backflow smoke out of the stove. Here you can see where that pipe creased, and that section there I was not able to separate. That was my biggest issue with this stove, and one of the only reasons why I wouldn't necessarily recommend the stove. But if you go into it knowing that that's going to happen, or you just plan on using it in, say, like a cabin or a camp, then I would say that it's probably worth $110. If you're going to be backpacking, not so much. I hope you got some info out of the video. Like I said, links in the description. If you did, give it a like, drop some questions and comments below, and thanks for hanging out.